What's up, guys? My name is Khan, and we're back today with more Scrap Mechanic, and today I've built another explosive engine way down there somewhere, and I do have it mounted on a vehicle already. So I wanted to get back to the explosive engine concept, because after the last video attempting it, I just felt like there were some things that I could improve. And so I've got, once again, a whole design process to go through, and I'm not going to tell you guys if the car works or not yet. We're going to have to wait till the end of the video to find that one out, but I'm going to show you the design process I took to get there, and just some of the reasons that this, I think, is a much better explosive engine than the previous. The first thing I wanted to tackle when I was looking at the old explosive engine to the new one was the Spud gun detonation system. I thought Spud guns are just, it's not really efficient, especially when you're moving. There's a chance the shots could miss. You got to have like a hole big enough. 3 spuds have to hit all at the same time for the explosive to detonate, and I didn't really think that was like a super efficient system. So I thought, really stupidly, what if I just put 2 explosive spawners facing each other so that they both kind of spawn inside each other? And sure enough, this actually works really well. We'll put a seat down just so we can press it, and look, if you see, they sort of spawn and they just blow up instantly. And so that's like the basis of the new system, and I thought that's great. And part of the reason why I wanted to do this is I think, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think we're getting double the explosive power per ignition. So instead of 1 explosive, it's actually 2 detonating, and they detonate right inside each other. So I thought maybe that'll work. Moving on from there, I said, well, we've got to deal with the timing issue, right? So explosive spawners, they can only spawn once every half a second, and that's really, really slow when it comes to engines spinning around. So in order to do that, I figured we got to double everything up. So this way, if we have 4 around in a line, we can alternate which pair spawns. So we could spawn this pair first, and then we could spawn this pair, and then alternate back and forth. And if we do that, just with a couple buttons, you can see we can get faster timing. And if I spam it, it kind of bursts, right? It'll burst, and then there's like a big lag time. But if you get a good sequence going, a good rhythm, you could get a constant speed going out of 1 piston. And again, we're blowing 2 explosives up at a time inside of it. And it's just these are terrible to troubleshoot because you literally can't see anything going on. But overall, we get faster timing, right? The main focus with this explosive engine, I had a lot of people say it. In the last video, I made a constant speed engine. So it had a timer, and it just followed a timer loop, and the explosives always triggered at the same time. And I had a lot of people say, hey, Con, you gotta make one that doesn't just trigger all at the same time. It goes automatically on a system that automatically senses the position and when it needs to go. This is a basic timer loop. This was just to test the spawn speeds. Right, so same setup as there, except this one, the 2 buttons are basically the 2 timers, and they're just being controlled by a single pulse that goes through them. Right, everything's timed out, half a second, plus the 2 tick delays, it works out. So of course, the issue with that kind of a system is when we're dealing with automatic positions, we needed to kind of know what the next pair to detonate is, right? So this is kind of that system. So this is the same as that system, except on a timer loop, this is using a memory bit. And all this does, whenever we press this button, it either sets or resets the memory bit, right? We'll put a seat down so you can see this easier. But it's not actually spawning the same explosives every time. If the bit is set when you press the button, it spawns 1 pair of them. And if the bit is reset when you press the button, it spawns the opposite pair. And so that way, we're only pressing the pulse once. We're only feeding it a single input, but it's spawning every time it gets that input and hopefully offsetting them. So again, I can press this button at a constant speed, and this is as fast as our engine could rotate, right? So this is the kind of speed we could get out of the engine. But now we could hook a sensor up instead of this button, and we could be using a sensor position on an encoder to determine when this thing needs to spawn, and it'll automatically alternate, again, the pairs that it's spawning. So this is perfect. This is kind of dealing with the cooldown issue. But this wasn't really good enough. I thought, it's only every half second. It's pretty slow. If you think about it, 1 rotation every time this goes, that's pretty slow, right? That's not very good. So I figured we need to speed it up. And of course, to speed it up, you double up all the spawners. So now we have 8, right? And we have 8 in a ring, and they're all paired up. And this is just, an exit. 1 set, 2 sets, 3 sets, 4 sets, right? Pretty simple stuff. So after I had this set up with the 8, I figured this was a good starting place for a single cylinder. And then the next thing I thought is, well, let's put it on a vehicle and make sure it can still spawn them, because we had issues before when stuff was moving, it wouldn't work. So I put them on this vehicle, and it still seems to work, right? kind of makes the vehicle bounce a bit. The vehicle's got thrusters. The explosives are not powering this vehicle, but, you know, at least the vehicle can move, right, and not freak out too much, except you can kind of see the explosives getting launched out of the container or below it. But overall, I think it'll work. After this, it came down to, all right, we got to somehow design the piston part of it, the whole plunger mechanism, and we got to automate this the exact same way we had it with only the 2 and the single memory bit. So now we've got 4 steps instead of 2 steps, and we have to automate those 4 steps to be absolutely flawless with 1 button press so we can trigger them with a sensor. And that's exactly what this is. This is really cool. So this is the base piston. We've got sort of this square cutout section at the top where we're going to put the sliding part that goes up and down. And then we've got this crazy cool memory loop system. So this is a 2-bit counter. It's actually really simple. Whenever we press this button, it feeds 1 tick into the system and it counts the bits. Depending on which bits are lit, will determine which one of the 4 pairs spawn. So if we actually look at this, every time we press 1, you'll see on those 4 lights, the next light in the sequence will blip and the bits will always reset. And so what this means is we can press this just as fast as we can press those 4 buttons, but I'm only pressing the 1 button. So if the engine is spinning slow, it'll go slow. If the engine's spinning faster, it'll spin faster, up to the point where it's at the cooldown of all 4. So if I spam it, you can see we'll get that waiting time. So this should theoretically be able to do 1 rotation every quarter of a second, but it'll ramp up. It'll automatically adjust because it's going to only ever take the next available set of explosives in line, and the previous set will go on its cooldown. So this is kind of like a wicked system to allow you to have a constant speed piston. So of course, the next thing to do is actually turn this into a piston, right? So I turned it horizontally, mainly because gravity is a pain in the butt, and I wanted explosives on opposite sides to do like the dual piston setup again. I thought that, you know, if we have explosives only on one side, we're going to be putting a lot of force on one side. It's going to just push the vehicle over. But if we have explosives on both sides, they should, you know, hopefully cancel out or something like that. So that's what I went with. So it's just same thing, rotated horizontally, you know, same setup, still works. I like to test these kind of builds at pretty much every step that I do. And the reason why is because that way if something screws up, I can go back to the previous step. And it also gives me ideas for the next step, so I don't have to, like, you know, constantly just modify one creation. So I build this and then I'll save a copy when I get to a point where I'm like, okay, I proved that concept works, and then I'll repeat the copy and start working on the next concept. So of course this just rotates it sideways, but you can see those 2 bits working. Really simple system, and then you can see on the far left there, those 4 bits count up. So it's pretty cool, single button input. So then of course I moved on to the doubling up portion of it. So we've got a crankshaft in here now, relatively simple thing. We've got some piston heads. They slide, right, and they go to a crank. Now you'll notice the crank position, these both have to detonate at the same time. So these are actually fed off 1 loop. So it looks like 2 pistons, but they're actually on the exact same timing spot. You can see both pistons are extended at the same time and both are retracted at the same time. So these 2 explosives will fire at the same time on both sides, which is why we only need 1 set of logic. So same deal as before, 1 set of logic. And if we press it just right, we could get the timing of this motor down. Very difficult with a single cylinder, and of course there's no real flywheel weight. I know a lot of people were saying on the last engine I needed flywheel weight. There's no flywheel weight on this, which is like, you know, a big heavy disc that keeps the momentum going. So we don't have that, so, you know, single cylinder, not very good. So of course, logical conclusion after that is to put the automation to it. So that one we were still pressing a button. Wait, this one's the same thing. What did I do in this? Did I do something? What did I do different? Oh, right, I extended the crank arms out. Yeah, so this one sucks, right? And then I came over to here, and I was like, well, maybe it sucks because the crank arms are too small. The answer is no, this one still sucks. You can see. A little less. The reason why this would matter is if you have shallower cranks, like these are shallower angles, you know, more force is going this way, less force is getting lost side to side. So I thought maybe that would help. I ended up going with the longer cranks anyway. Didn't make a difference though. You can see it still can't get past the position. Although if we add a flywheel, it might be able to. To be honest, let's just try that. Let's see if we can prove the existence of a flywheel. So we've got the axle comes out here, and then we just need to put like a disc on it. Doesn't really have to be, you know, anything fancy. It just kind of has to be symmetrical, I think. Right, so there we go. That'll be our heavy disc. And let's see if we can spin this past, like a full rotation. I don't know, it might not be possible. Here we go. Oh, there we go. See, look at the difference that makes. You still have to like get the timing, but the flywheel carries it through the dead zone where there's no explosive, right? It's actually pretty good. That's really good. Look at that. So your car has a flywheel, obviously. Wow, this thing, oh, no, screwed up. See, now we're going backwards. You have to like really nail the sequence. But yeah, your car has a flywheel, and you can see how effective it is. It just helps carry the rotation of the shaft through the point. You know what? I might be able to use that later on. We're gonna try that later. But anyway, flywheel, super useful stuff. Again, same setup, crappy setup, but you know, longer cranks, wonderful. So of course then I thought, well, if we only have one set of cylinders, we need two sets, and then we offset them by 180 degrees, right? And now with two sets, we can have these ones in the extended position while these ones are retracted and vice versa. So it'll be like explosions front, back, and so on and so forth, and keep alternating. And then of course we've got a little sensor wheel here with just a colored strip, and these are colored sensors. So whenever this white strip comes along in front of the sensor, it fires the explosives front or back, and that's why we've got two of these logic setups now. Same thing as before, it just picks the next available pair of explosive spawners, so it's the next available one on the cooldown. But I believe if we turn on this switch, there we go. See, it kind of struggles. It gets into a rotation. This one, I think, same deal. I'm pretty sure we could fix this with a flywheel. I didn't have a flywheel on this either, but I think if we extend this out and put it to another flywheel, I'm pretty sure we could like fix this no problem. This is the beauty of flywheels, because once it gets that first initial push in a direction, it should keep spinning with the weight of this concrete. So let's see if this actually fixes it. Don't worry, it gets better. This one's all right, but we get into much cooler tech. So let's see what this does. Look at that. Look at the difference. Boom. It's got solid rotation in a single direction. It's still slow and terrible, but look at that. That's what a flywheel does. Wow, that's actually like the coolest example of it I think I've ever seen. That's amazing. So you can see it carries the momentum through the dead zones and keeps the cylinders moving in a constant direction. That's really cool. So anyway, that's the two-cylinder variant. You can see both the front and the back explode at the same time. We might be able to get a better view around the side. Of course, the explosions do knock you away, but you can't really see what's going on. Hold on. Maybe I can go to potato quality. Alright, potato quality. I mean, you can kind of see a little bit better what's going on. You can see the shaft is cut in the middle where it flips. And you can see front and back. And the flywheel just spins it. It's amazing how much more effective it is with a flywheel. Oh, it just skipped there. It's still going. It's quite impressive. And then you can see, of course, the logic just continuing to turn along. So anyway, that's the two-cylinder version with the flywheel. But I didn't have the flywheel on it, and I thought it still sucked because it was only two cylinders. And you can see it doesn't really get up to speed. Like, even with the flywheel, it can only maintain so much, like, rotation. So, of course, I went, you know, go big or go home. I went to 4 cylinders. So it looks like it's 8, but it's 4 because it's 2 pairs. I guess you could call it 8, but it's 4 sets. So, yeah. So we've got a lot of logic. We've got an encoder on the front with 4 sensor positions. This one doesn't have a flywheel. But they're offset by 90 degrees, so it doesn't need it, because one is always in the prime position to, like, rotate the shaft. And we've got 4 sets of logic, which is, believe it or not, a huge pain in the butt to wire up. The logic's all super far away, of course, because explosives kill logic. And here we go. Yeah, no, sometimes you just have a single shot that doesn't do anything. There you go. Once it gets going, though, yeah, it's really the coolest engine I think I've ever built. So you can tell what it's doing. Let's see if we can get a side view here. It's just crazy. It's unbelievable. So here we go. Can we even... There's just a lot of smoke and fire. We need exhaust pipes. But you can kind of see the pistons moving, right? So it's a 4-cylinder, goes boom, 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 and then repeats back to the beginning. They're all offset by 90 degrees, and they rotate a single shaft. And it's 2 explosives per side at a time, so it's 4 explosives detonating per cylinder every time you see it. So it's 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, 4, repeat. And I mean, I just love it. I could watch this all day. It's unbelievably aggressive. Look at that shaft rotation. I'm gonna try this one with a flywheel too, seeing as how we've done all the other ones with a flywheel. I don't know if this one's gonna do any better or worse, but I want to try it and just see maybe it could build up more momentum. I love this engine though. Look at how long it takes to spin down, even with just the shaft weight. So let's see if we can make a flywheel make this better. Concrete disc flywheel. I don't think it's gonna make this better, to be honest. I think, like, the rotation is what it is, you know? But let's see. Okay, you got it. Come on, get through that initial hump. There you go. It doesn't seem any different. If anything, it took a little longer to get it through the initial hump. This is pretty cool, though. Yeah, possibly the coolest engine I've ever built, even though you can't actually see anything that's going on. But here we go. We can put our... Look at that. That's amazing. This is so stupid. So anyway, it's an explosive-powered engine. I might upload this one to the workshop as well, so you guys can take a look at it, because I uploaded the last one. This one works off the ground as well. Actually, let's just take a break here. I'll remove this just to prove that point. Here we've got it mounted on some wheels. But before we get to that, let's just actually make this workshop savable here, so you guys can check it out and just prove the point. So we're just going to remove this on the lift, and, you know, just put some metal supports on it, I guess. We'll leave the flywheel on it, because why not? That way you guys can actually, you know, see it with and without the flywheel. You can delete it. It's a pretty cool engine. I have some ideas. I still am not done with this concept. There's some other... Every time I build a new engine, honestly, I made this video because I was like, I've built so many engines, I don't want like a 3-hour-long video. So I want to actually like explain where I'm at and then have you guys give me more input. I got a lot of good suggestions on the last explosive video, especially talking about like sensors and stuff. And, you know, the automatic sensor thing was definitely something that the comments said, you know, you need an engine that automatically adjusts its timing. I don't even think these are straight. Like, what are you doing, man? What is this? This one's not even, like, close to the ground. All right. So we've got it mounted on just the ground, and you can see it'll still, come on. There you go. It'll still spin. It doesn't have issues being free-floating. You see, it actually moves way less than the previous explosive engine did. It's kind of awesome. Anyway, explosive engine, you can see all 4 cylinders. This is like an electronic ignition system. Basically, it's determining which cylinder to fire when. I love this. It's so cool. It's such a simple little piece of logic, but it allows this entire setup to be automated so that you can only, you know, you're dealing with cooldowns automatically. Yeah. That's just wonderful. Anyway, so of course, grand finale, I'll upload this to the workshop so you guys can check it out. Actually, I'm going to save this right now because I have a feeling the grand finale might just blow up this entire thing. This is Explosive Engine V2, right? V1 was absolute garbage. V2 is slightly better. And then, of course, I mounted it to a vehicle, so I did have to spawn in the mod pack wheels because I didn't want to deal with the fact that there weren't any wheels big enough to reach the ground underneath this. I didn't want to have slopes and stuff. I just wanted it to be flat. And, of course, I put some tiny little wheels on the front. You can tell it is very laggy. Well, maybe you can't tell. I'm not sure. It does kill my frames a fair amount. That's why I don't want to upload this to the workshop. And we've got the engine here connected straight out the back to just a single gear shaft, you know, connected with a terrible gear. And that's pretty much it. I've got thrusters on the one side to help speed it up. Now, there is one issue with this, and I guess we should probably try it with a flywheel. But the issue is you can't start the engine cold, like with the wheels. It won't move at all. And I have another issue, which is even when I start it with a little bit of movement, you can see, come on, if we can get it. Come on. I think it already, yeah, no, it knocked a cylinder out already. Look at this, look at this. How did this happen? Like, honestly. All right, so I have one other idea, which I didn't think of testing, which I probably should. I'm gonna try and lift up the front of this, like this front axle with, actually you can't lift it there. I'm gonna try and lift it right here. Right, just a little bit off the ground to see if we can prop the wheels up and maybe get it to start spinning the wheels before we move. It does spin the wheels, in fact, but the issue is, yeah, you can see, there we go. We're spinning the wheels. Maybe, can we see that? Can we take a look? Yeah, there we go. You can see our wheels are, oh, they were spinning. What happened? Oh, they touched the ground. See, if the wheels touch the ground, it's like game over, man. All right, there we go. We got them spinning again. So you look at that. It can generate like that's some crazy speed on those wheels. They just have 0 torque, right? So like you can tell the engines, it's really generating speed. It really wants to go. So we've got our wheels spinning, no problem. It's very, very fast on the spinning wheels. But now watch, I'm gonna get in the seat. We're gonna lower the lift and go. No, and we already, like, look, it literally just blew a piston out. So this is the issue I'm running into. I'm going to show you guys another problem too. So that's the first issue. They have like absolute zero torque. And then I know you're going to be like, well, Con, you got all these thrusters. Just give it some power. So I'm going to give it full speed. Right, we're cruising along. The engine's spinning, no problem. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let off the power and then turn on the explosive engine. So here we go. Let off the power, turn on the explosive engine. And it just doesn't, it just jams. You see that? It's like, it can't keep spinning. Look, we got, like, these didn't detonate for some reason. You know, though, like, what is this nonsense? What is that? Why are they all in there? I think there's an issue with when you're moving and the spawner position. I think the way that these spawners work, and I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they just, like, output a local coordinate. So they output the explosive relative to the spawner itself. And of course, when you're moving, that position changes by the time the explosive appears. So that's my guess. I'm not exactly sure. But you can see we can kind of get moving, and then we just can't. Oh, there. See, that one just gets. Look at them getting yeeted out. That one didn't even die. Come on. Perfect shot. First try. But anyway, needless to say, it's a pretty inefficient car. I can give it thrust while actually using the explosive engine, and we can kind of move. Right. So let's get it up to speed. Let's let go of the thrust. It kind of carries for a little bit, and then it dies. Okay, so I have one idea. Since we did it on every other engine, let's put a really big, heavy flywheel on this. Although I think the problem is, like, a flywheel is not going to solve the issue with the explosives, you know, detonating in the wrong spot, right? Like, they're not appearing where they need to appear, I'm pretty sure. But anyway, I'm going to put a flywheel just right here. We can't really put it that tall, so we'll just make it fat. And we'll just do something like this. And basically give ourselves a lot of weight on the shaft there. And hopefully this is enough to help it carry once the wheels, you know, are spinning. So we'll use the thrusters to get the flywheel spinning up to speed. And then once we're up to speed, we'll kick in the engine again. So here we go. Flywheel spinning. Everything's good to go. All right, kick in the engine. We already lost the cylinder. Okay, that's not good. Hold on. We should turn around and head back anyway. Spinning. Kick in the cylinders. Already lost one. Wow. I wonder why it loses one right away. Do we need, like, must be a timing thing. Like, if you turn on the cylinders. What if I do this? Turn it on right away and move while. That seems to be better. Alright, so we're moving with thrust. And with the engines. We lost a cylinder. So anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I don't know how to go from here. I want to try and make maybe, like, the only other idea I had is bigger cylinders so that the explosives stay contained. But I still have the feeling that even with bigger cylinders, we're going to run into the issue where as soon as you start moving, the position just doesn't output correctly. I mean, look at that one get launched up there, right? I'm actually going to try and not go near all the prototype versions so we don't accidentally blow them up. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. If you have any other ideas on how to improve this. I tried to improve it from the last one, and obviously I got the automatic timing thing down, but it still it seems to just lack a combination of power and the whole glitching out thing. I mean, we lose a cylinder, like, right away. Or maybe I'm thinking about this whole explosive engine thing wrong. Maybe there's a better way to do it that doesn't involve cylinders. Although I really want to get the cylinder thing down, like the piston movement, because I'm trying to duplicate like a car engine motion with all the, you know, the gasoline burning and that sort of thing. So I was really hoping to make this work. And this is a lot of explosions, but it just doesn't seem to have the power when you try and transfer it to like an actual rotating shaft. Like, see, we're going now, but it just loses its speed and dies. You know what? I have one final idea that we're going to try. That it's going to involve another mod, but we're going to spawn in the engineer's mod that has the drag reducer. So we have less drag on this creation, which means it should maintain its momentum longer. All right, we're back in the game, and if we go down the list here, we've got the engineer's parts, we've got this, the drag reducer block. So what this does is any creation it's attached to has less drag, which means it doesn't slow down as quickly. So if we ramp up our speed, you can see we're gonna keep gliding for a long, long time. And it will eventually slow down, but it'll take forever. This is how we do gliders and stuff like that. Stuff that, you know, Scrap Mechanic has sort of a really quick drag reduction system. It just slows down vehicles very, very quickly. So, of course, if this works, it's not really an explosive-powered car because it's really just like, you know, we're basically just gliding. Like, look, we're still going. We're still gliding. Hit that first try, by the way. But we're still going with this. So I can probably turn on the engine right now. And I think it'll keep us going. No, it'll glitch out and stall. Okay. And then we blew a cylinder. And then there's just... Okay. Yeah, we might have been going... Maybe we have to go a little slower. Let's just slow it down a little bit. We solve all the parts? Yeah, okay. A little bit of drag, get it spinning. Alright. Fire. Fire. Fire the... I swear to God, the position is like I think the, jeez. Oh my God, guys. Yeah, I think the position is part of the problem. I think what happens is they like glitch into the pistons that cause the pistons to get shot out. I think the issue is not necessarily the power of the vehicle, although the weight of the vehicle is definitely a problem because as we get more and more stuff, the vehicle gets heavier and heavier. But I think the biggest issue is the fact that like when we spawn the explosives, they don't spawn where they do when the engine's not moving. Come on. Hey, look at that one get launched out. And then that one spawned. Yeah, look. That one spawned inside the piston. Look at that. What is that nonsense? No wonder the piston breaks. Well, as much as I'd like to say this is an explosive-powered car, unfortunately, even with the drag reducer block, it's not enough to get it going. It's close, and, like, the flywheel definitely kind of helps, but, like, you know, this is just us moving on the drag reducer. And the issue is the explosives just keep spawning inside the vehicle. You can see the engine, like it's probably, oh yeah, see one just spawned there in a weird spot. They don't seem to work unless the engine's not moving at all, and then they'll spawn in the appropriate spot and blow up. But let me know what you guys think of in the comments down below. If you got a suggestion on how to fix that issue. I think that's the last issue with this vehicle. The weight's a problem, the power's a problem. We need more power, need more weight, but we also need a way for explosives to spawn and not, you know, get stuck weirdly inside the engine compartment. These are obviously very tight cylinders, but like they're spawning and blowing these pistons way out, so I don't even know what to do about that. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure, of course, you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see y'all next time.